Sanjay Pradhan, the CEO of OGP, coming to you live from Washington, D.C. Welcome to the first ever Global Co-Creation Week. During the next few months, government officials, civil society activists, academics, citizens from 30 countries will be coming together to co-create ambitious OGP commitments for their National Action Plans, or NAPs. Our goal in launching this Global Co-Creation Week is to support you in this process. So now these 30 National Action Plans, or NAPs, come at a particularly critical time for OGP, and there is a lot of significance and stake for them in this year. So first, at the global level, we have witnessed dramatic global events over the last several months. And at the Paris Global Summit, OGP got positioned as a positive global force for reinvigorating and deepening openness and democracy, and to serve as a countervailing force against the rise of closed governments, the rise of authoritarianism, exclusion, and citizen distrust in government. We look to the upcoming 30 NAPs to live up to this global vision. And at the country level, as you will recall, we launched the OGP strategic refresh at the Paris Summit in December, where we committed that we would achieve much greater transformative impact through OGP national action plans that affect the lives of citizens. And we have challenges here that we hope you can credibly address through the upcoming NAPs. For instance, only 5% of OGP commitments currently meet the STAR global standard of the independent reporting mechanism of being both transformative and completed. In recently assessed action plans, 70% of OGP countries did not have any STAR commitments. As I proposed in Paris, let us commit that every OGP country will have at least two commitments that are starred through the upcoming NAPs. So you see, for the 30 NAPs that you will be co-creating, we must go beyond basic consultation practices and simple commitments. We need to raise the standards of both process and content to live up to these promises. And we have several resources at your disposal to address these challenges. On the process, the new participation and co-creation standards that were developed with your collaboration will help us to strengthen the co-creation process and develop more meaningful commitments. We will showcase these standards to you throughout this upcoming week and provide assistance on the new rules to civil society and government officials. And to illustrate what these may look like, in the last 5 years, OGP countries have found new and creative ways to broaden participation to ensure a truly collaborative process in the NAP development process. So for instance, we have countries like Georgia, Nigeria, Costa Rica, the UK, and Romania that have set up multi-stakeholder forums to ensure a truly collaborative process in the NAP development process. Every year, and this has now become a requirement of OGP. But beyond this requirement, we are now seeing innovations popping up in OGP countries that you could emulate or improve upon. So for instance, in Paraguay, they not only broadcast online all their OpenGov sessions, but they have also developed a TV show where ministers discuss OpenGov reforms. In countries like Ireland and Chile, and Canada, Ireland and Canada, they have combined online and person-to-person engagement to reach people throughout the country. In countries like Honduras and Colombia, the consultation process has gone beyond the capital cities to include towns and other dispersed areas. In Costa Rica, the OGP process made a very deliberate attempt to include the historically marginalized indigenous people. This kind of inclusion is really important to role model in the present geopolitical context that we see around the world. So we hope through the 30 countries NAP development process, we see a broadening of the stakeholder base, and we see an inclusion of more line ministries and cabinet, and we also see the inclusion of broader civil society organizations, such as those that are fighting for health, education, and other such issues. Now, process is necessary, but it is not sufficient for delivering transformative impact. As we committed through the strategic refresh and at the Paris Global Summit, in the next phase of OGP, let us commit to making sure we have ambitious content. And for this, let us complement the traditional important focus on transparency to now also deepen a focus on citizen participation so that we can help strengthen the trust between government and citizens. One key priority here is to deepen citizen participation in policymaking. For instance, we are seeing innovative reforms in participatory budgeting, whether in Brazil or in Paris, or Canada's open dialogue mechanisms, where citizens are participating in governments in the co-creation of concrete policies. We also need to scale up commitments where citizens can give feedback on the delivery of services that impact their lives and where governments respond to this feedback. Another vital priority this year is to raise our collective ambition to tackle the biggest and toughest challenges, such as elite capture and grand corruption that underpins citizen distrust in developed and developing countries. And here again, we have inspirational OGP examples that we hope you can customize, emulate, and scale up through the 30 NAPs that are coming up. So for instance, we have inspirational, innovative, transformative examples such as open contracting in Ukraine, or beneficial ownership transparency in Slovakia, or lobbying reform in Ireland and Chile, or we have asset disclosure of the top officials in Ukraine, which has revealed glaring discrepancies with income that watchdog groups are monitoring, or we have disclosure of political party financing in Georgia by the Supreme Audit Institution, which now watchdog groups are monitoring to see whether the donors benefit from public contracts. You can see these types of commitments can be scaled up across countries, and they can really show to citizens that governments and citizens are working together to tackle issues of elite capture and grand corruption. So you see, this is a vital, exciting year for OGP, and we look to you, we look to reformers from government and civil society and other stakeholders to come together to have a really meaningful co-creation and collaboration process, and to have transformative reforms, ambitious reforms that can really make a difference in tackling big social problems. There is a lot at stake this year, and we look forward to supporting you in this process. So we hope that you take advantage of our Global Co-Creation Week activities as an opportunity to tap into this shared knowledge and make your action plans as ambitious as possible. We look forward to assisting you in this process. I now pass you on to my colleague, Madeleine Weber, our Communication Officer in OGP, to outline how you can participate. Madeleine?
Thanks, Sanjay. During Global Co-Creation Week, our goal is to make sure that government officials, civil society organizations, and activists are all aware of their country's consultation timeline, planned activities, and government points of contact, so that everyone who's interested in participating can participate in the development of their country's next national action plan. The cornerstone of the week will be a series of 4 regional webinars where local activists, government officials, and OGP support unit staff will share best practices and success stories on how to co-create a strong national action plan. The dates and times of the webinars can all be found on the OGP website. We'll also have a social media campaign where you can share your ideas, ask questions, and make requests for your country's next action plan. To do so, you just need to use the hashtag OGP Co-Create plus a hashtag of your country's name. We'll also encourage countries to use the hashtag OGP Co-Create and their country name so that you'll be aware of what activities are happening. We also encourage you to use the hashtag MyNapAsk plus your country's name to make specific commitment proposals and requests that the support unit can deliver to relevant government officials. Tweets can be sent in English or in your local language, but should always use these hashtags. Governments are also encouraged to use these hashtags, and you can follow our Twitter feed to see what activities are happening. We'll also be featuring blogs from the community throughout the week and a co-creation themed newsletter at the start of April. If you have any ideas or experiences or stories that you'd like to share with the community, let us know and we'll be sure to feature them. Thanks.
Thank you.